Hello everyone, welcome back to my next video of active and passive voice. Today we will learn how to identify the subject, the verb and the object in a sentence. So, first let me tell you what a verb is. Verb. What is a verb? Verb is the action in a sentence. The action in a sentence. In every sentence, there is an action, and that is called the verb. See, I have given an example here. The girl writes a letter. Okay? So here, this girl is performing an action, and the action is writing. So the girl is performing an action which is writing. So writes is the verb in this sentence. This is the verb in the sentence. Now, what is a subject? Subject, identify the verb and ask the verb with who. Now, what does this mean? Okay, so let me show by giving you an example. Okay, so here I have given an example. The girl writes a letter. Now, I have just discussed that you have to question the verb with who, okay, to get the subject. So in this sentence, see, here writes, this is the verb. Now I'm asking who writes, okay, and I'm getting the answer, the girl, okay. Who writes? The girl writes. So this girl is the doer of the action. So the girl is the subject. Now, how to find an object? Ask the verb with what or whom. Okay? So, the same way, I'm asking this time to get the object, I'm questioning the verb with what or whom. The girl writes a letter. Now here writes, this is the verb, okay? Writes what? And I'm getting the answer, a letter, okay? Now, don't ask like this, what writes, okay? Just you have to mention the question tag after the verb. Writes what or writes, knows whom, writes what, plays what, like this. So writes what? A letter. So this is how we are getting the answer, a letter. That means a letter is our object. Okay? This is our object. Now I have given another example. Okay? He knows the man. This time, knows of course is the verb. Now you cannot ask knows what. This is not the way you can question a living being. Okay? In case of living being, living object, we usually ask whom, not what. So this time we are questioning the verb with whom. Knows whom. Okay? And we are getting the answer, the man. So, in this case, the man is the object. Okay? Now, let's come to active voice and passive voice. We have already discussed how to find the subject, the verb and the object. And voice change is all about these three things. So now, let's discuss active voice. In a sentence, in active voice, the sequence of a sentence is like this. Subject, verb and then object. So the subject comes in the beginning, then verb and then the object. Let me cite an example. I eat rice. The most simple one, simplest one. Here see, here I is the subject, eat is the verb and rice is the object. This is the sequence of active voice. Now passive voice. The sequence gets just the reverse, okay? It's a reverse one. Object comes in the beginning, then verb and then subject. Now I'm changing the same sentence, I eat rice, into passive voice. Now how I'm changing it, I'll discuss that in later. First, just let me give the example. Rice is eaten by me. Okay? This is how a sentence in passive voice looks like. Okay? See here, rice is in the beginning. Okay? Object, then verb, and then the subject. Okay. Now, while changing from active voice to passive voice, there are some rules. Okay? And you have to maintain the rules. To change a sentence from active to passive voice or passive to active voice. So the rule number 1 is, in passive voice, the subject and the object interchange their places. Now, what does that mean? Interchange means, while changing from active to passive, the subject and object, they change their places. The subject goes at the end and object comes in the beginning. This is rule number 1. Now, rule number 2 is, the meaning of the sentence remains the same. You cannot change the meaning of the sentence. So, most of the times, when a student usually change a sentence from active to passive, and while bringing the object in the beginning, they tend to, maybe unintentionally, they tend to change the meaning of the sentence. So, you have to keep that in mind. The meaning of the sentence should remain the same. And the third rule is the most important one, that is, the tense of the sentence remains the same. Every sentence, every verb, there is a particular tense. The verb remains in a particular tense. So, you cannot change the tense of the sentence. If the action of the sentence is in present tense, while changing it into passive voice, you have to keep it in present tense only. Or if it's in past tense, you have to keep the sentence in past tense only. So, these are the 3 rules you have to keep in mind while changing from active to passive voice. Thank you guys for watching the video, and just wait for my next one. For testing your understanding of this lesson and more videos, log on to www.tubelessons.net.